there first.
Treasurer Abraham, the parliamentary order of President, be the order. When I introduce the student senate members, then you can take roll call, including the student senate.
Oh, that's right.
What?
That's right. Let's do that. Get us together. Get us together. Yes. We have a new member.
Where? The student senate.
Good evening, good evening. I'd like to call this December 17th business meeting to order. Madam Treasurer, may we have a roll call? Don't look at me, y'all make me so nervous. Don't do that.
President Smith.
Present.
Ms. Wick.
Present.
Dr. Bailey.
Here.
Mr. Lacy.
I'm here.
Mr. Walker.
Present.
Ms. Reinhardt.
Present.
Dr. Goodwine.
Dr. Goodwin has an excused absence.
Okay, 6 in attendance.
Do it right now.
Yes.
Okay.
Zakia, would you come up to the mic? And thank you so much. And would you walk us through briefly the election process and then bring up our new ex officio student senate president?
Yes, so I would like to introduce our newly elected president and vice president of our superintendent student senate, Mr. Nellion Scott, who is our president. You can come on up. And Madam Vice President of Ponance High School, if you could come on up. So these two will represent our district, the student body within the district, and they'll be our representatives for the city of Dayton through the Montgomery County Young Delegates. So I would give these two the chance to introduce themselves and tell them their plans of action.
Thank you. Okay, hello. So as she said, I'm Nellion Scott. I'm honored to be chosen to be this district student senate president this year. And I'm honored to come and bring my ideas from my high school, Thurgood Marshall, as well as work with the other students at the Student Senate, like my vice president right here.
Thank you. I'm Nevaeh Woods. I'm a junior at Ponance, and I'm really happy to be vice president for Superintendent Student Senate. And I just want to help open new doors and be guided through new doors.
So give them a round of applause, and we are very excited to have them on board this year.
Thank you. And next, Dr. Lawrence, you can introduce our lovely guests here, and could the board and treasurer and then superintendent join us down so we can all sit back and enjoy our lovely guests.
This is going to be exciting. The Bellhaven Choir, led by brother Stephen Reeves. And let's go down on the floor here and enjoy this. Dr. Bailey has already threatened to jump in, so watch out.
He's already there.
The mission of the Bellhaven School is provide a safe haven and a focus on individual and inclusive education through collaboration and community involvement. And now for the Bobcat way. I am respectful. I am responsible. I am safe. I believe, I believe, I believe in me. I believe, I believe, I believe in me. I'm going to make it. I'm going to make it. I believe in me. I'm going to make it. I'm going to make it. I believe in me. I can't turn around. I can't turn around. I believe in me. I can't turn around. I can't turn around. I believe in me. I believe. I believe. I believe in me. I believe. I believe. I believe in me. This school, yes, my school, is the best school, yes, the best school. I believe in me. I believe in me. I believe in me. I believe in me.
Sing it 2 more times. I believe.
I believe in me.
Keep the beat for me, legend, and I believe.
I believe in me.
Y'all hear what the kids are saying? They believe in themselves. Do you believe in them?
I believe in me.
Let's bring it on home. I believe.
I believe in me.
Mr. Reeves, can I pick it up? Want to sing. We want to tell the world. We want them to know that they are loved. With our music, we can make the world a better place for everyone. We want to sing. We want to tell the world. We want them to know that they are loved. With our music, we can make the world a better place for everyone. The songs that we sing have a special ring. The people that we meet can't be beat. The days that we spend, we hope will never end. So join in now, my friend. We want to sing. We want
tell the world. We want them to know that they are loved. With our music, we can make the world a better place for everyone. The songs that we sing have a special ring. The people that we meet can't be beat. The days that we spend, we hope will never end. So join in now, my friend. We want to sing, we want to tell the world, we want them to know that they are loved. With our music, we can make the world a better place for everyone. For everyone. For everyone.
Can we just give another round of applause for the Belhaven? It's good to see you. Belhaven Unified Chorus. Come on, this is Dayton's very own Belhaven 4401 Free Pike, where after Siebenthaler, it becomes Free Pike, and it becomes Belhaven Elementary School. I'm so thankful for the opportunity. I know that the hour has grown late, and I just can't thank you enough. It's not a right, but a privilege to serve and an honor to be the music teacher at Belhaven Elementary School. Thank you so much for your time and your patience. Peace be with you. Happy holidays until we meet again. Thank you so much.
Can we give another hand to our students from Belhaven? Additionally, I want to give another thank you to those that work with him every day, and I want to definitely lift up their parents, family members, community, because that's what really this is about. When we talk about keeping the main thing, that's what it's really about. If the things we're doing up here on this dais don't directly impact those students that we just saw here, then something's missing. So I just want us to always realize that no matter where we're at in the district, it's about those kids there. Because when we see the things that we see in the news and we see the things that we see in the paper and online, all of these students started out as preschoolers and kindergartners and first graders. And it's our duty to make sure that we're providing everything we can. So I just want to thank everyone that let us have that moment to really refocus on why we're here. And then next, we want to go on to more celebratory news. Dr. Lawrence, take it away.
Thank you so much, President Smith. Next, we want I want Dr. Sherry Gill and one of her her last board meeting.
Point of information, we did not do the pledge according to Board Member Lacy.
Board Member Lacy gonna get on us.
Thank you. Board Member Walker, thank you so much.
Look, he already beat me to it. Can we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Man.
I just want to say that President Smith is usually always very calm. The one thing that gets him going is kids. He loves that, so that's kind of why we got out of order. He's caught up in children.
No, I love him.
That's how you do, man. So, yes, I want to bring up Dr. Sherry Gill. This is her last board meeting before she goes on to become CEO of House of Bread. We are going to miss her dearly, but she has been phenomenal. She's going out like she came in. She's managed the counselors and all those amazing kids that they supervise, and every time I look up, there's a program or award. So here we are again, back-to-back years in Dayton Public Schools with the prestigious W.S. McIntosh Memorial Scholarship, and she's going to talk about our winner and the work that went into this.
Thank you, Dr. Lawrence. It is an honor to be here tonight, to be with you all. And I do want to just say thank you for a great 3.5-year run with Dayton Public Schools. And I appreciate the support and all that I've learned and all the growth I've had in this time that's made it possible for me to take this next step. I'm very excited. The McIntosh Scholarship is something we keep striving to keep in Dayton Public Schools. It has alternated. Most recently, it kind of alternated years in DPS, out of DPS. There's a time not too long ago, it went 2 years in a row out of DPS. And I can tell you the counselors have been working really, really hard to get this thing back in DPS. And so we have back-to-back years of DPS. And I am so excited. Last year it was with Meadowdale, and this year with Thurgood. And this is the first time in the history of Thurgood Marshall High School, STEM High School, that they have received, I believe, had a McIntosh winner. So Neleon Scott is the winner of this year's award. He is an amazing student. I don't know him as personally as some other people in this room, like his principal, but I can tell you I've seen him in about every CCP classroom I've walked into, always doing his work, asking about what else there is out there for him. Just an amazing student, taking advantage of all the opportunities that we have at Dayton Public Schools. He's a joy to be around, and the University of Dayton they've got something great coming their way with you being there. So we are proud of you, and we know that you're going to make a difference at the University of Dayton and in this city, because it's a full scholarship with the whole works: tuition, room and board, books, you name it, and an internship, a paid internship with the city. And so he is going to be making a difference on that campus, but also across our city. And we are so proud of you, and nobody walks alone. And I don't know about some of your other supports, but I do know that your principal and your counselor are amazing supports for you and all of those students. So I also want to give a shout out to them. They've done amazing work. Stacia Burlong has been coaching students in this so well for years, and I'm so glad that one of hers, that Neleon, you brought it home for all of us and for her. So thank you.
Dr. Gill, briefly, for people who don't know, your dissertation is about 58 pages. It's in abstract mathematics. Could you quickly calculate the cost of that scholarship?
I'm in abstract mathematics. I do nothing with numbers. But it's about $60,000 a year for at least for UD times 4, plus books. So yeah, over $250,000, I'm sure, plus the internship. So yeah.
I'd like to ask their amazing principal to come up, Shavin Lewis from Thurgood Marshall High School, STEM High School. I know this is a proud moment for you, so I want you to come on up, say a few words about Neleon, and it's a proud moment for board member Board Member Walker, who's a graduate, and certainly as a former principal of Thurgood Marshall High School, it's a proud moment for me too. Yeah, I was at Thurgood.
We are so proud of Nilian. Congratulations, as everyone has said, and that everyone is getting to witness the young man that we have come in love, that has been so amazing for us. He's done so many good things, been a model student. Right now, he's currently in Office A, helping us in the office in the mornings. One of the proudest moments was watching him last year bring us home the district debate city championship. He defended in the final round and was amazing. That was amazing to watch. That was my first time at a debate. I didn't know that it could get so heated. And so just him bringing that home and seeing him perform. So, I mean, we're just honored that he's our student. We're honored that he was able to get this award, and we're so, so, so proud of you. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Superintendent, if I may.
Absolutely.
I would like to add my voice to this. I've actually known Mr. Scott and his mom for about a year. I've worked with him and have been impressed from the moment I met him. When I heard that he was the recipient of the scholarship, I knew immediately that it was the right choice, and I am so proud of Thurgood, but I'm so proud of Mr. Scott. Congratulations.
You know, I don't know why.
I mean, I just, congratulations. I think witnessing that last week, I think it was really good. We actually got to take a picture as him being the first McIntosh, Dr. Lawrence being the principal there, and then me being a student there, of now being superintendent and a school board member. It just is a lot of Thurgood Marshall here now, so I feel pretty good about that. And I look forward to debating you on this floor occasionally.
He gonna lose. So I'm gonna say thank you, Principal Lewis. So Principal Lewis, this is first McIntosh, right? Dr. Lawrence, you had no McIntoshes, right?
Point of order. Excuse me. Dr. Lawrence, we had Gates Millennium and Coca-Cola scholars as well.
I was hoping he wasn't going to do it.
I will say Thurgood Marshall is the first school in the district to have all three now of Gates Millennium. Thank you.
Principal Davis, we got to get over to Meadowdale, get that black and gold rolling. But I want to say thank you, and I appreciate us as a district taking the time to honor our students in these moments, because we know we have to lift up our stories. We have to lift up our students. We have to let them know that they're loved, that they're appreciated, and understanding that the whole village that goes behind these successes. We have to lift ours up. So I'm glad we can have these moments. And I don't know if you can beat Mr. Scott Walker. Went over there for voter registration, and I was about to walk out the room. You got it. So glad to have you join us. Just want to wish you the best in your future. And just those are the things we're here for. And next, as we keep moving along, we've got the hearing of the bargaining units. Are there any bargaining units present that would wish to speak this evening? Well, all right. Next, I will go to hearing of the public. Madam Treasurer, do we have anybody registered to speak this evening?
No.
Oh, we don't have anyone registered to speak this evening. Oh, now we'll get to the slow part of the evening, the superintendent's agenda.
Thank you, President Smith. I recommend the approval of the following administrative appointments for a vote.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and second. Do we have any questions on superintendent's agenda item A?
Can I?
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
I pull A2 till after executive session.
All right, A2 will be moved to after executive session. Dr. Bailey?
I'd like to pull A4 until after executive session as well.
Okay, A2, A4. So now we're left with A1, A3. Any questions, comments on the motion? Seeing none, I will want to just echo in. We appreciate you, Dr. Gale. Love the work you've done, and you know we'll see you around. You can't leave us alone too much. Seeing no other questions, Madam Treasurer, may we have a vote?
President Smith,
Yes.
Ms. Wick,
Yes.
Dr. Bailey,
Yes.
Mr. Lacy,
Yes.
Mr. Walker,
Yes.
Ms. Reinhardt,
Yes.
Mr. Scott. 7 yeses.
Okay, Dr. Lawrence?
I recommend the approval of the following DEA after July 10th for a vote.
So moved.
It's been moved and properly seconded by the Honorable Dr. Bailey. Do we have any questions on the motion? In the spirit of the holiday, sir. Seeing no questions, may we have a vote?
President Smith,
Yes.
Ms. Wick,
Yes.
Dr. Bailey,
Yes.
Mr. Lacy,
Yes.
Mr. Walker,
Yes.
Ms. Reinhardt,
No.
Yeah, can we do a,
Mr. Scott.
Go ahead, Walker.
can we do a motion to reconsider superintendent's item B?
We have a second.
I'll second.
All right.
Yeah, the one that we just did, typically, the board votes no on this.
Now Walker.
I'm just usually the only one that votes yes, so that's why I was shocked.
Walker.
I didn't know if you all wanted to stick with that.
If you would like, I am fine. It's been moved in second. Do we have a questions on it? Seeing none, may we have a vote?
President Smith,
Yes.
Ms. Wick,
Yes.
Dr. Bailey,
Yes.
Mr. Lacy,
Yes.
Mr. Walker,
Yes.
Ms. Reinhardt,
No.
Mr. Scott. Five yeses, 2 no.
All right, Mr. Walker?
So then I would like to do superintendent's item B.
All right.
I'll motion for superintendent's item B.
I'll second it.
Any questions? Seeing none, may we have a vote?
Okay. President Smith,
No.
Ms. Wick,
No.
Dr. Bailey,
No.
Mr. Lacy,
No.
Mr. Walker,
Yes.
Mr. Scott. Mr. Scott,
And Reinhardt votes no as well.
Ms. Reiner.
Dr. Lawrence?
I recommend approval of the following certified appointments for a vote.
So moved.
Second.
Who moved it?
It was moved and properly seconded by my esteemed colleague, Mr. Walker. Do we have any questions on the motion? Seeing none, may we have a vote?
President Smith,
Yes.
Ms. Wick,
Yes.
Dr. Bailey,
Yes.
Mr. Lacy,
Yes.
Mr. Walker,
Yes.
Ms. Reinhardt,
Yes.
Mr. Scott. 7 yeses.
Dr. Lawrence?
I recommend approval of the following classified appointments for a vote.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded by Mr. Lacy. Do we have any questions on the motion? Seeing none, may we have a vote?
President Smith,
Yes.
Ms. Wick,
Yes.
Dr. Bailey,
Yes.
Mr. Lacy,
Yes.
Mr. Walker,
Yes.
Ms. Reinhardt,
Yes.
Mr. Scott. 7 yeses.
Dr. Lawrence?
I recommend approval of the following classified exempt appointments for a vote.
Can I make a motion that we take this is E through G together?
Oh,
If you have a second. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
It's been moved and properly seconded by Vice President Wick. I'll give everyone a moment to look through, see if they have any questions on the motion.
Ready to vote?
Anyone have any questions? You get a chance to look through. Dr. Bailey, we're able to look through if you had any questions. All right. Seeing no questions, may we have a vote?
President Smith,
Yes.
Ms. Wick,
Yes.
Dr. Bailey,
Yes.
Mr. Lacy,
Yes.
Mr. Walker,
Yes.
Ms. Reinhardt,
Yes.
Mr. Scott. 7 yeses.
Dr. Lawrence?
I recommend approval of the following 48-hour rule.
So moved.
Second.
Moving second, do we have any questions?
Yeah, can we pull H2 until after exec?
Okay, we'll also ask for H1 and H3 to go into exec and we will make sure that we have a decision on it when we come out of executive session. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Brother Walker, were you about to say something? Okay, I thought I cut you off. Any other questions? Seeing none, may we have a vote?
President Smith,
Yes.
Ms. Wick,
Yes.
Dr. Bailey,
Yes.
Mr. Lacy,
Yes.
Mr. Walker,
Yes.
Ms. Reinhardt,
Yes.
Mr. Scott. 7 yeses.
All right. Dr. Lawrence?
I recommend approval of the following, which is I-4 only, for now.
So moved.
Second.
We voted on that, didn't
I'm saying, well, we voted on the 48-hour waiver,
we?
but,
We voted to
pull
pull
3.
that,
yeah, so
and
for,
we just voted.
so we're just voting on the
Just the
initial
4.
2.
Actually, just the 1, because you pulled 3.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, so just
Yep, just the
I-4.
one.
I
Yep,
mean,
just
the
the
other
one.
one. Okay.
We pull 1, 2, and 3.
Right, so
Oh, I
everyone
thought it
knows.
was 14.
Just 4, just 4. All right, Madam Treasurer. I mean, nope. Do we have a motion?
Yes, yes, I think Karen already said
All
it.
right.
Yes.
Madam Treasurer?
Okay, President Smith,
Yes.
Ms. Wick,
Yes.
Dr. Bailey,
Yes.
Mr. Lacy,
Yes.
Mr. Walker,
Yes.
Ms. Reinhardt,
Yes.
Mr. Scott.
Yes.
7 yeses.
All right, David? That's how
You know what, President Smith, I'm gonna miss you, man. I'm gonna miss you in January, man. I'm about to look all the way down there. I recommend the approval of the following contracts and agreements.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and second. Do we have any questions on the motion?
Yeah, I think I do.
Okay. Take your time.
Can,
With this Bradley Payne, what exactly is that?
I will ask our
Dr.
business
Jones is on
manager
his
to
way.
come up. No, it's not ratifying nothing yet.
Not yet. So Bradley Payne is the organization that we'll be working with to help us develop our capital improvement plan and develop a financial plan that buttresses that capital improvement plan over a 10-year period. It's something that we have not done historically. When you look at our preventive maintenance plans, they're just not in place. You know, the issues that we've had at a couple of our schools with our HVAC, duct cleaning, it'll include all of that.
Oh, okay.
Yes, sir.
So to be clear, this is only paying him to assist in developing that plan for us to use for 10 years.
And also helping us to secure fiscal resources as well. And I actually invited Dan Shaw, if you would like to hear from him as well.
Might as well. You
Yep.
up here?
I'd love to.
All right, Brother Dan, come on down. You gotta forgive our junior board member.
Well,
Good to see you again, sir.
good to see you. I don't have a formal presentation or anything. I'm just said to be here in case you had some questions or anything you would like me to address for the Board of Education. We will go through the process of identifying what your needs are from a capital standpoint and putting that together prior to next year's budgeting cycle so that we can identify what resources the district needs to have lined up each of the next 5 to 10 years and be able to get a comprehensive financial plan that your entire leadership team can kind of work around and understand what's on the docket for later, what needs to be on the docket in the future. So we'll be able to bring that forward for you to consider and look at going into 2030, 2031.
So did I also hear him say that you'll be helping us to find the finances to do that as well?
Right. So with Bradley Payne, we've been a longtime partner with the district in helping put your finances together, whether it's new buildings or capital improvements or whatever it is that we find throughout the plan. We act as your municipal advisor in securing the funds from the banks in order to make sure you've got the dollars that you need when you need them.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Mr. Lacy?
So
will there be like projections of like student population and so forth? Okay.
there will, yes.
Okay. I'll look forward to seeing that.
Any other questions?
Where you get those shoes from?
Ah, Macy's, pretty good, right?
Send me the
I
link.
think that's out of order.
Yeah, forgive him.
I started to ask the same thing.
All right, any other questions for Dr. Jones? Good. All right, any other questions on contracts? Seeing no other questions, Madam Treasurer, may we have a vote?
President Smith,
Yes.
Ms. Wick,
Yes.
Dr. Bailey,
Yes.
Mr. Lacy,
Yes.
Mr. Walker,
Yes.
Ms. Reinhardt,
Yes.
Mr. Scott.
Yes.
7 yeses.
All right, thank you, Madam Treasurer. Mr. Superintendent.
I just saw Miss Winfrey and Miss Karan Thompson come in. I see you looking mighty Christmassy, holiday spirit. Let me say holiday spirit. It's better. Would you like to come up and speak, bargaining units? No? Well, all right. Well, it's good to see you. All right. I recommend approval. You're right on time. I recommend approval of the following resolution: OPSI Local 626, bus drivers for a vote. 627. I made it up.
627.
Yeah,
I'll second.
627. Let me make this bigger. How about that? There it is. I can see it now.
Mark, are you second? Yes. Okay, so we moving
Lacy.
properly
Who
second.
moved it?
Lacy.
Mr. Lacy. Are there any questions?
No questions, just thank the leadership, Mr. Anderson, Dr. Jones, Calhoun, Dr. Lawrence, and the treasurer for getting this done.
Yeah.
And really appreciate the work. And, Miss Winfrey, next time I go to a basketball game, I don't got to avoid her, so I'm glad that this is done.
You could be ducking smoke. Seeing no other questions, may we have a vote?
President Smith,
Yes.
Ms. Wick,
Yes.
Dr. Bailey,
Yes.
Mr. Lacy,
Yes.
Mr. Walker,
Yes.
Ms. Reinhardt,
Yes.
Mr. Scott.
Yes.
7 yeses.
Thank you. Dr. Lawrence.
And President Smith, this is my final superintendent's recommendation with you up here. My eyes are watering up. I recommend the approval of the following memorandum of understanding, DPS University in Cincinnati. DPS and University of Cincinnati, my alma mater.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and second. Do we have any questions? I can't even say nothing because UCB Xavier over the weekend.
Yeah, you can't.
Can't say a thing.
First time in 3 years.
That happens. May we have a vote?
President Smith,
Yes.
Ms. Wick,
Yes.
Dr. Bailey,
Yes.
Mr. Lacy,
Yes.
Mr. Walker,
Yes.
Ms. Reinhardt,
Yes.
Mr. Scott.
Yes.
7 yeses.
That concludes my recommendations.
All right. Madam Treasurer.
I recommend the approval of the Certificate of Estimated Resources as reviewed last week.
So moved.
Been moved. Do we have a
Second.
second? It's moved and properly seconded by Vice President Wick. Do we have any questions? Seeing no questions, may we have a vote?
President Smith,
Yes.
Ms. Wick,
Yes.
Dr. Bailey,
Yes.
Mr. Lacy,
Yes.
Mr. Walker,
Yes.
Ms. Reinhardt,
Yes.
Mr. Scott.
Yes.
7 yeses.
All right, Madam Treasurer.
Yes, I will. I recommend the approval of amended appropriations for fiscal year 2025 as reviewed last week.
So moved.
I will second it. It's been moved and seconded. Do we have any questions? Seeing none, may we have a vote?
President Smith,
Yes.
Ms. Wick,
Yes.
Dr. Bailey,
Yes.
Mr. Lacy,
Yes.
Mr. Walker,
Yes.
Ms. Reinhardt,
Yes.
Mr. Scott.
Yes.
7 yeses.
Madam Treasurer.
I recommend the approval of advances for December 2024 as reviewed last week.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded by Dr. Bailey. Do we have any questions on the motion? Seeing none, may we have a vote?
President Smith,
Yes.
Ms. Wick,
Yes.
Dr. Bailey,
Yes.
Mr. Lacy,
Yes.
Mr. Walker,
Yes.
Ms. Reinhardt,
Yes.
Mr. Scott.
Yes.
7 yeses.
Madam Treasurer.
I recommend the approval of monthly financial for November 2024 as reviewed by the Finance Committee on Thursday.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Do we have any questions? Seeing none, may we have a vote?
President Smith,
Yes.
Ms. Wick,
Yes.
Dr. Bailey,
Yes.
Mr. Lacy,
Yes.
Mr. Walker,
Yes.
Ms. Reinhardt,
Yes.
Mr. Scott.
Yes.
7 yeses.
All right, Madam Treasurer.
I think we needed to refresh.
Refresh. Reverse.
Oh, just to get rid of that. Okay.
I recommend the approval of donations for December 17, 2024.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and properly second by Mr. Walker. Do we have any questions on the motion? Seeing none, I want to thank all of those that donated. Appreciate that. May we have a vote?
President Smith,
Yes.
Ms. Wick,
Yes.
Dr.
Yes.
Bailey, Mr. Lacy,
Yes.
Mr. Walker,
Yes.
Ms. Reinhardt,
Yes.
Mr. Scott.
Yes.
7 yeses.
Thank you, Madam Treasurer.
I recommend the approval of the following purchase requisitions as reviewed last week.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved in second. And we'll open it up. I did have a question, and not so much for an answer right now, but shortly, from Dr. Lawrence, Dr. Jones, and Madam Treasurer, seeing that we have the RTA bus passes on there, I know we've been having some meetings with various entities around various transportation kind of conversations, just youth in general. And I know we've been talking about some various plans, various things we're looking at, and how we're using passes in general. If we could put together, if you all collaborate pretty shortly on what are some of the things that you're looking into as we move forward, what are some of the expectations that the board could face as far as costs, just kind of put that together. Nothing for a vote at that time, just really letting us know kind of where these things are as we move forward. I appreciate that.
Consider it done.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I was kind of on that myself. I just wanted to know how much we're paying for bus passes. Because I looked up today how much a regular bus pass costs for a year.
It's not like it used to be.
Right.
Dollar with a transfer.
Yeah, it was. It's $55 for a typical community member, but we pay $75. And actually, that went up to 85, right? 80. January 1st, it goes up to 85.
So why do we pay more when you can just
So supposedly
buy
it's
regular bus passes for it?
Enterprise pricing. So for organizations that have X number or purchase passes in bulk, they get charged premium.
So like, I'm just sitting here thinking, if it's, you said how much is regular, 55? And we're paying 85 per student. And why can't we just buy bus passes, regular bus passes, and give them to our students?
So it's partially how the system is set up when you're buying a bulk. Any government program, they actually sell them for $80 a pass. And I do agree that that is a price difference. I've looked into that for a while. But any government program, they actually charge that amount for RTA. But the one thing I do want to point out, if we're looking at how much it will cost us to transport the students currently after last year, with our current costs, we were looking at about $1,600 a year to transport a student, while we do not currently have the fleet or the drivers to do so. So if we're looking at the $800 a year compared to the $1,600 a year, compared to the uncovered routes that we've had every day, it's still a much cheaper, consistent cost to currently transport them on RTA.
So I get that part, as far as we're not able to transport because we just can't do it. But I just have an issue, and I'm trying to understand this, that we could go to RTA and purchase, let's just say we got 100 students, and purchase 100 passes at $55 to give to our students, but yet we are purchasing it from them for $85 a student.
Yes, we actually looked into that as well, but there was a couple issues there. One, I just will say that it's part of how the systems communicate. Two, it's also a amount of passes that RTA will actually buy and purchase to sell to the public. So most of the public, they actually give out, they allow them to sign up and use their cell phones, they use the email addresses. Our systems do not currently merge to do that. They have not currently wanted us to do it. I understand there are administrative costs that go into doing the passes. Those are the answers that we've actually gotten behind there. And it has been a question over the last couple of years of, is there any other way for us to work it out or to figure out to get the systems to merge properly?
Dr. Bailey, I just want to add that when I came back, I started in transportation operations, and it'll be in my weekly update, and then when the treasurer and the business manager I get together, we'll give it to the board. But just in general, we need help legislatively with this directive around transporting charter school students. We don't have to do that. We have the capability. Also, Ms. Winfrey, I saw her shaking her head over there. When I was in transportation, we talked about a fourth tier, adding a fourth tier, and there were some other things we talked about in terms of trying to be able to transport all of our students and get out of the RTA game, so to speak. So you'll see all that in writing. I'm just talking about it in a general level right now.
Okay. I just think that's a lot of money. That's like $30 per student that we're paying extra that they can go buy a bus pass. I'd rather give them $55 myself and let them buy a bus pass instead of paying $85. And it would seem like RTA, being that we are as large as we are and have the students, would cut us a deal instead of making us pay more. And the other question I have is too, with our students, are they restricted with the bus pass, or can they use the bus pass anytime they want?
Unrestricted.
So they got the same restrictions that if I go buy me a $55 bus pass.
They have the same level of access.
The same level of access, but we're gonna pay $85 as opposed to $55. I think somebody needs to look into that.
Most definitely. Yes, sir.
For real, that's a lot of money. I'm not the mathematician over here, but I do have a calculator if you want me to start adding it up. How many students we got riding the bus, RTA?
Was it roughly 3,500?
3,500.
Because we do not only our high school.
I'll get with the math with you after we get done.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, you go ahead. Yeah, so 35, that'll buy exactly 3,500 monthly passes, or, passes per month. Is that enough? Is that?
Yes,
okay.
sir. Yes, sir.
Does that, now, as far as, do you know, as far as, so we're paying some sort of institutional enterprise pricing. Are there any other enterprises that come even close to that? That are buying bus passes from RTA? Or does this just become a de facto separate price for Dayton Public Schools?
Yeah, so when we looked into that, we were actually, first I do want to say that RTA's prices go up for everyone in January, and I do understand that that is a cost. That's something that we've been looking into for years. Dr. Lawrence and I, Dr. Jones and I have also talked about this at different times. But Montgomery County and all the other programs, well, I'm told, were paying the exact same cost, and we were all charged the same thing for bus passes. And just kind of going into that 3,500 students that we look at what we are required to transport, what we're required to give out bus passes for. Any high schooler in the area, we actually are required to provide these bus passes for if they're looking for transportation. Even if they're at a school that's within 30 minutes of Dayton Public Schools, and the student wants to go within 30 minutes of the child's resident, and they want to go there. So we've made sure to balance that portion. We make sure that we spoke with all the teachers. We spoke with all the principals. Dr. Lawrence and I talked about that. Dr. Jones and I talked about that at the beginning of the year, as well as Ms. Goings and Chief Dooley, when it came towards making sure that they're not just giving out the bus passes just because the child's eligible. If the child wants it, they come up and get it, and they use it. And I think that part of it comes towards making sure that our children do have access. But I have acknowledged that is a cost. That was a cost when we found out that every public entity is being charged that. But RTA also brought up the fact that, of course, their rates don't even pay for them to sustain themselves as well. So those are some of the issues that go along with it.
So it's just public entities?
Yes.
So if a private organization or
let me speak to that one.
Okay.
I know about the public entities. I won't speak to something that I don't know.
Okay.
Yes.
And you know that, what, Montgomery County buys some, that's one of the public entities that buys
Yes.
them?
Yes, sir.
And I guess they buy them for social services or something?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, and they actually got rid of the temporary time limit passes several years ago. We originally were buying those, and now our students are able to use the passes for going to work, going home, going to where they need to go on the weekends, and things like that.
Nevaeh, would you come up for just a moment? She's in my focus group at Ponence, and they've had some conversations around transportation. Let's hear from some of our students. I see our wonderful principal back there in the back smiling. Hi, Ms. Christian. So you're in my focus group at Ponence, and we talked about David H. Ponence. We talked about transportation and RTA. Would you like to make a few comments as the Vice President of Student Senate?
I was actually just talking about that. I don't feel like we should use the RTA for our transportation purposes. If possible, I do feel like the yellow bus should come back, only because students get in trouble for being late sometimes, and it's not our fault, because if our first bus that gets us from home to downtown is late, and then we miss the bus that gets us from downtown to our school, well, now we're getting at school around 8:30, past 8, and then we're getting in trouble by like our success leaders and stuff. And I don't feel like that's really fair on our end, because it's not, we can't rush the driver, we're not behind the wheel and stuff like that. And then other times we can't get a bus pass because either we're too late and it's just like, oh, you should have came when we were all passing them out, now you're not getting one at all, and now, oh, how am I gonna get home? I feel like it's a lot of issues that come with riding the RTA and getting a bus pass from the school with the RTA. Oh, that was pretty low. That does seem so much better. That seems so much better. That feels so much better. What was I saying? Oh, I feel like, overall, I feel like the yellow bus should come back, because it was more, we could trust it more, and we were going from one place to the other safely. Downtown, when I'm sitting downtown waiting on my bus, I could get hit in my face, and I'm not even the person that they trying to hit. I can get yelled at, and I'm not even the person that they arguing with. The workers, they're disrespectful, and now the students are arguing with the workers because you just called me out my name, and I didn't even do nothing to you. So I just feel like if the yellow buses were to come back, it would be so much more safer and less of an issue. Like in the Student Senate group, we talked about why kids aren't coming to school, and one of the reasons were transportation. And we all said that we feel like the yellow bus should come back because you don't have a reason to not come to school. You can't say you don't have a ride because this bus is coming in front of your house waiting at least 5 minutes for you. Unlike the RTA, you're on a strict time. You have to get up at this certain time to get out the house at this certain time. So I can see the issue with riding the RTA, but if the yellow bus was provided for us, it's not really an issue. Just like when you order a Lyft, you know you have to be outside at this time. So you know this is taking you from this place to this place. It's no reason for you to be late unless that bus is running late. And the yellow buses rarely run late. So that's just my take.
I knew you would have something to say.
I do have a
I wanna
question for you,
conclude
Nevaeh.
with,
I'm curious.
Oh, go ahead.
Because as someone who is a car rider and doesn't use the RTA, I'm curious. You always have to get another bus downtown at the hub?
So it's certain buses that go right past Ponence, Dunbar. Ponence, Dunbar, Thurgood. Sometimes we can walk because Ponence isn't that far from the RTA because we are downtown.
Yeah.
But we can walk sometimes, but I usually ride bus 12 from my house to the hub, and then from the hub to my school, I ride 19 or 9. And it's a lot of us plus the adults. So that's another reason that we're late sometimes, because we get kicked off the bus because it's too crowded, because the bus only has a certain number of seats and they don't try to accommodate for the students sometimes, which honestly they don't really have to, because it's for people who aren't in school and people in school.
Would you think you would have an easier and safer travel if your RTA bus was able to take you straight to, maybe not straight to your school, but close enough to your school where you wouldn't have to get a transition bus?
I do feel like it would be safer because you're not getting off anywhere, but that's just two. Then we would have to focus on the from school to home, because if it was like a bus that drops us off at the school and then takes us home, like the yellow bus per se, then I feel like it would be safer and less fights would occur downtown because you have no reason to get off the bus. You have no reason to get off and say, oh, that's that girl I've been wanting to fight.
Mm-hmm.
Now you have to go straight home because you are on the same bus. What are you getting off the bus for?
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. I have one last thing. Do you, because again, I don't know, is it a mixture of students when you get on in the morning and on in the evening, or is it just mostly students and not non-students? I guess is my question.
It depends on the bus.
Right.
Our bus, the bus that mainly all the opponent students ride, it's half and half. And a lot of the adults start to push the kids, and then the students may push the adults and say, I have to get to school. Then now we argue because I have to get to school, you have to get to work, and now we both we're not coming to common ground, and now it's an unsafe environment.
Yeah. I guess what I'm getting at is I had actually talked to her, and she said that I think Cincinnati or Cleveland had their own personal buses for some students, correct?
So it's, they work with the Cincinnati Transport Authority. It's complicated, and we tried that a few years ago with having the limited service lines. RTA ran the LS buses, and then that ended during COVID, so.
I think it would be nice if there were student-specific buses during certain periods in the morning and in the evenings.
Yeah, that's kind of how it was for what? All of your high school, my high school.
Yeah.
It's kind of the way it went. And then RTA said no, if we're being honest. Not just a few years ago, this year, last year, before that. And let us not forget the stops in some spaces were moved further away from the schools.
That's like one of the stops at our one of the stops at my school. It did get moved, and a lot of us had to stop using. I think it was bus 8. We had to stop using.
It was right in front of the building.
Yeah, and we had to stop using it because now it's by the gas station by the school. I think that's Marathon, and one is getting really cold, and I know me, I don't like the cold at all, at all. And I think that's another reason that attendance issues may come into play because it's getting really cold, and since the stops are farther away, it's like that's too far for me to walk. That's like I live off Main Street, but 7 stop is by Dollar General. I'll say that's at least, if I walk slow, 10-minute walk. If I walk fast, 5-minute walk. But that's still far to me and other children. So I feel like, how can I put it? I really feel like riding the RTA equals attendance issues. So I feel like if we could partner up with maybe well, you already said we can't partner up with the RTA the way that you were because they keep saying no. So I feel like if we could, like I've been saying, like the yellow bus, not treat us like middle school, but treat us like middle school because it's safer and more convenient in our hands and in our parents' minds if they just came closer to us. We get on, we get dropped off right at school, and then boom, and the same thing from into home. And I think that would better up with the RTA. And then it's like, oh, we can trust DPS now, and maybe the conversation about the other buses may come into play.
I appreciate that. I think that goes into what some of the conversations. I will say that we have had better conversations, I would say, Dr. Lawrence.
Yes, significantly
with
better.
Different entities and really thinking about just ways to target things. I know in my conversations with people, understanding that the RTA transportation at Ponence is different from the RTA conversation at Stivers, where you have a pickup line that goes out on the 5th Street. So us being mindful when we're having those discussions and not trying to do some of the things that we just can't do. Notice I know that Mr. Calhoun said we don't have the fleet, we don't have the drivers, understanding in their small defense on sometimes, they also do not have the fleet, do not have the drivers, don't have the stops, don't have the same amount of things that went on in those times. But I think that it is on us to be creative about those things. Because your school is different because you have a school where you have people walking through in the winter, leaving from Ponence, walking down to the hub.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that creates a whole different set of issues with things going on at BP, McDonald's, those kind of things. So we can't look at the district as a one-size-fits-all solution. I think and I've talked to Dr. Jones about it and Dr. Lawrence. So we're looking into some things, and that's why we really love having you guys' input, because to kind of go get to tap them and be like, I told you, I told you, I told you. So but definitely appreciate you.
I got one more thing.
Dr. Bailey.
Well, first, a sidebar. Dr. Scott, I'm going to speak that into existence right now. I think you're going to give Mr. Walker a run for his money already. I hear it. Two, if I did the math right, it's like $100,000 that we over. And it would be nice if we could take that $100,000, if RTA is watching us tonight, to cut us a break. And maybe that $100,000 can go into helping keep our kids safe, and maybe us being able to put more money into downtown with them transfers and everything else. $100,000 is a lot of money. To me, it is, at least. So I think that's just something that we need to really look into, if you could, and just keep me abreast. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Any other questions, comments?
Yeah,
Mr. Walker?
I'll let Mr.
Then
Lacy.
Ms.
It's more than 100,000. It's what, 3,500 students times $25 difference, if that's what you were computing, times 5 months.
It's interesting having a CPA on the board.
Yeah, so that'd be,
Okay. I didn't
that's
do
closer to,
25.
that's close, 400, that's closer to 450,000.
Yeah, that's a lot. No, I didn't do times.
Actually-
He did great. I'm glad he said that, because, again, that's, how much did you say, Joe?
It's $430,500. $430,500.
$400,000 that we can put into our students.
Right.
So to add to that, there's another cost that's not included in that, because we also have SROs that go there in the morning and in the afternoon, as well as to the library, that neither the library or RTA is giving us any funding to cover this. So now we're close to $1 million just in extra like that we're putting out for downtown.
That number is, with overtime and the number of individuals we send down there, it's close to like $35,000 a month maybe. So, and to Nevaeh's point, school bus transportation is the safest form of transportation. And so we've been recruiting pretty heavily. We've gotten some drivers from First Student, thanks to Craig and his team.
Hey, we got
14.
We got a new staff member coming in January from them, so hopefully we can get more.
Yeah.
So,
and from what I'm hearing, our contracts, our salary schedule, and the CBA has been shown to recruit, and they're coming. So, just as a note, if anybody's watching, we do have the best transportation fleet in Montgomery County. So if you want to work for a great team, come on DPS.
I'll add to that. I think at the OSBA, we even heard that I think we have the best fleet because we have Wi-Fi and air conditioning on the buses.
Yes, we do. Wi-Fi and AC.
So my question is a little bit different. So for me, it would be when you look at charter schools in like the greater Dayton area, with regards to scheduling, for instance, let's say a charter school starts at 8 o'clock. Does the district school times take priority over the charter school route?
So, first off, I do want to say this. Thank y'all to the Student Senate. I love speaking with the kids. That is amazing, seriously. But yes, we always do look at making sure that our schools are taken care of, but there are many factors involved with it. I want to say I'm so thankful to the board for Mr. Walker being at the OSBA conference when we got up to speak on that. There is one really important portion to mention. As Dr. Lawrence said, legislatively, we have to look at some changes that need to be made. The OAPT has been actually looking at making some changes as well. When we're looking at how we're allowed to schedule the charter schools have to be scheduled within 30 minutes of their start time or their arrival, or else those parents, as well as some of our other parents, not just charter, can actually go at us for compliance complaints. And if found true, can actually address and attack our official funding. So some of the changes that I suggested that we will look at is if we can legislate and make some of those charter schools conform to our bail schedule after so many years. Right now, they don't have to do it, and I'm not saying that, hey, if you want the transportation, you need to align somewhere. Right now, there is no legal way saying that you have to do that. And we can take the students to school 30 minutes early, technically. What if there's no penalty for the schools not letting them in 30 minutes early? And what if one of our bus drivers leaves the kids there 30 minutes early and something happens? So there's many things that we balance. We also balance the more we open this up, the bigger the liability and the bigger the responsibility is on Dayton Public Transportation. So I love saying that, hey, of course, I was a school bus driver, now I'm a school bus administrator. It's the safest thing to do. It's the safest thing on the planet. But it's more of a planned long-term goal when we're working with legislation, and we're also working with our resources to make sure that we're aligning those things properly. Because what happens, let's say, and I talked to Dr. Jones about this before, if we shut down First Student and we took all their drivers, I'm not against that. Let me clear that up, I'm DPS. All of those charter schools, we're now required to start transporting them. And us, RTA, First Student, are all competing, as well as Kettering and other school districts around, are all competing for the same employees. The same pool of employees is what we're competing for. And we're now also competing with Amazon, Chewy, all these other different environments. So the board has done great as it's come towards financing the bus drivers, making sure that everything is great, getting them the resources. Ms. Winfrey is really big on making sure that we're over here talking about it and really pushing it on, but there's layers that we have to address. So yes, we are always going to schedule DPS. We are the primary thing that we're focused on. But when we do schedule DPS and we say, hey, we're gonna forget this, then we can't fund either one of them. We lose funding.
So for me, it's not saying to forget them. What I'm saying is, let's say that we have a high school. We put out our school calendar way in advance. We put out a bail schedule way in advance. And we say that we're going to transport high school students now, and this is their times. Does the charter school now say, here's our time, and it has to be after our times, or can it be, how does that work?
Well, speaking towards the school board, this is one thing that I really can ask you all directly, and it will come from the routers, it will come from the dispatchers. One way that the school board can help us is some of these plans being made in advance. What happens is every year we change the bail schedule. Now the routers have to figure out how to readjust the routes within the bail schedule. And then we have to figure out, hey, we don't get that time to plan and make everything as efficient as it needs to be. So since I've been in administration the last 4 years, I would love to say that we do that. But sadly, DPS over the last several years have been the last official bail schedules that DPS transportation gets.
Okay. For me to wrap up.
Oh, just to reiterate, I think more specifically to your question about other school entities, charters, parochials, if they have to align with our bail schedule, no. There's no legislation in place that dictates that they have to do that. So they could keep their own, their bail schedules and change them whenever they want.
So, 3 parts for me. Number one, I'm interested to see how the Columbus City Schools Impractical to Transport situation unfolds, and how other districts will then look at that as an option for charter school routes. Number 2, I think that's important for community members to know that your elected officials that are on the Montgomery County Commission and the City of Dayton, mayor and commissioners, they appoint the members who sit on the RTA board. I think it's best for people to know that, and if they can reach out to them and advise them, you want your kid off of RTA. We want you to have RTA be a better partner of, hey, we're going to bring back LS routes to take them directly from their house to the school, avoid downtown and things like that. I think the school district is one voice that a board over there decides to do what they want to, which their meetings are public. You can go and speak at those. And then lastly for me is I appreciate transportation for all of the work. I think this number is a lot with regards to paying out. If it was up to me, I would just say pay the parent monthly. Here's a stipend, go buy your kid a bus pass. Saves us money, puts it on to the parent to get them to the school. Their rate is $60, ours is $85. That's just me. But, thank you.
Any other questions for Dr. Jones? Appreciate you, Dr. Jones.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate you, Brother Calhoun. Any other questions on purchase requisitions?
Yes.
Yeah, I just want to know what is a SAP Concur? What is that?
It's a system we use to chart travel and reimbursements for mileage.
Oh, okay. I'm done.
All right, Mr. Walker?
I guess I was curious on the whole X-Tex piece. I mean, is this still issues here? Is this resolved now? Are we still investing in them? What is the plan here?
So we have rearranged how we're working with them today. So like the one you're seeing on here is more of a labor side of doing installs at the Hyde building. This is not them managing the servers or anything like that. We're kind of taking that over internally.
That's all I needed. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any other questions? I appreciate the conversation. I appreciate all that weighed in. I think that transportation conversation is a large piece that has a lot of moving parts. So I just appreciate giving the context to that. Appreciate Mr. Calhoun putting some of those things out, knowing that when we see numbers, sometimes they're large, but the number on our end to make up for that would be equally, if not larger, as well. So it's that piece of how do we have those, also understanding where when we deal with these government purchase costs, if we're not getting them, we also do not get credit for getting them, and then we would also then lose funding. So it's that weird way where when it comes back to how do we get back to our government for some of these things, it's that darned if you do, darned if you don't, because if we did go out and get them ourselves outside of this, then we wouldn't get district funding back to get some of these things. So it's a large conversation. I look forward to us really working together with some of our partners, because the main thing is really keeping our kids safe, one, and then making sure that they're getting to and from school in timely fashions. And then that's a whole nother conversation when we talk about charters and things like that. But appreciate having so many people here in the room. So when people are here, now we can have those conversations. Have people here. Seeing no further questions. Look, got you before you said something. This ain't your recommendation. May we have a vote?
President Smith,
Yes.
Ms. Wick,
Yes.
Dr. Bailey,
Yes.
Mr. Lacy,
Yes.
Mr. Walker,
Yes.
Ms. Reinhardt,
Yes.
and Mr. Scott.
Yes.
7 yeses.
Madam Treasurer?
I recommend the approval of the following zoning now as they reviewed last week.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved in second. Do we have any questions on then and nows? Seeing none, may we have a vote?
President Smith,
Yes.
Ms. Wick,
Yes.
Dr. Bailey,
Yes.
Mr. Lacy,
Yes.
Mr. Walker,
Yes.
Ms. Reinhardt,
Yes.
Mr. Scott.
Yes.
7 yeses.
Does this include your recommendations, Madam Treasurer?
Yes.
Thank you, Madam Treasurer. You're much
Thank you.
appreciated. Dr. Jones?
Yes, sir. I recommend a waiver of the 48-hour rule to present the appointment or the administrative appointment as listed.
So move.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded by Mr. Lacy. Any questions? Seeing none, may we have a vote?
President Smith,
Yes.
Ms. Wick,
Yes.
Dr. Bailey,
Yes.
Mr. Lacy,
Yes.
Mr. Walker,
Yes.
Ms. Reinhardt,
Yes.
Mr. Scott.
Yes.
7 yeses.
All right, Dr. Jones.
I recommend ratification of the following individual.
So moved, man.
Second.
Been moved and properly seconded by Mr. Lacy. Any questions? Seeing none, may we have a vote?
President Smith,
Yes.
Ms. Wick,
Yes.
Dr. Bailey,
Yes.
Mr. Lacy,
Yes.
Mr. Walker,
Yes.
Ms. Reinhardt,
Yes.
Mr. Scott.
Yes.
7 yeses.
Thank you. This includes your recommendations.
Yes, sir, it does.
Thank you, sir. You're appreciated. We have some other things. We'll move that back. Pursuant to section 121.22G2 of the Ohio Revised Code, I move this board go into executive session. This meeting is being held to consider the appointment and employment of a public employee. Do I have a second?
Second.
It's been moved and properly second. Do we have any questions?
I don't know if Mr. is Scott staying or is he?
I would suggest we do new business first because it was set up perfectly.
Do you want to do new business first?
That way, so he can do his comments and then we can just.
I'll withdraw it then. I'll even let Mr. Walker go first.
Looks like it's some policy stuff.
I know.
Oh, you want me to go first?
You can go first.
All right. Before we start, I would like to make a motion. I'd like to make a motion that I'd like to make a motion to pay all admin and DSS employees at step 0 to 2 with the retro back to July 1 of the new salary schedule.
Do we have a second?
Second.
It's been moved and properly second. Do we have any questions on the motion? Any comments on the motion?
Is there, if I may, if there's any guidance or thoughts on this from our treasurer or superintendent or business manager, if they have any of those they'd like to share with us, I would welcome those at this point.
No, I don't.
I'll just share briefly that I think it's a really good idea. We have been dealing with this since June, and I think there's a lot of angst out there and a lot of chatter around the salary schedule and how we're paying our administrators, and so we've been effectively kind of holding their pay for months now. And then we have a plan to continue to move forward once our fourth teammate comes to work through where those people will be placed on the schedule. So this is not the end, this is just the middle, but we got to get the ball rolling for sure.
Okay, I would like to, if possible, just add a friendly amendment to that motion. Mr. Walker?
Absolutely.
All right, I would like to add that with paying out at the 0 to 2 of the new step, that we then also authorize that back payment in an expedient fashion, as well with making sure that our staff works collaboratively to follow the policy on where we place people in steps and have that done before the end of the year. Is that amenable to you, sir?
End of the fiscal year.
Fiscal year.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
All right. I appreciate that. I will add that I do appreciate all the work that's been going into changing what on surface may seem like a very easy thing, but this is something that hadn't been done in Dayton Public. But I do feel that while our team is working on some things, that we still need to recognize the people that are out here working every day in the district. And I think it's only fair that we make sure that we take care of those that are taking care of our most precious thing, and that's the students and families of this district. So I appreciate that motion, Mr. Walker. Appreciate the work, like I said, that's going forward, and I appreciate everyone that will continue to work for it. But I do think as we come into this Christmas season, having that, I think that works out to about 3%?
Yeah, still at
So
3%.
3%, then that 3%, we want to make sure that that 3% going back to the beginning of this fiscal year gets sent back to our staff. Mr. Walker?
I just want to add to that as well, with the motion to be processed as a separate check payment.
Yes. Okay. All
As a
right.
special check run or special, however that's classified.
All right. Do we have any other questions on Mr. Walker's motion? Seeing none, may we have a vote?
President Smith,
Yes.
Ms. Wick,
Yes.
Dr. Bailey,
Yes.
Mr. Lacy,
Yes?
Mr. Walker,
Yes.
Ms. Reinhardt,
Yes.
Mr. Scott.
Yes.
7 yeses.
Thank you. Mr. Walker, did you have anything else?
Yes, I would just like to send prayers out to the family and students over at Dunbar for the loss of yet another student here in Dayton, as well as, at some point, hopefully, something is done around gun violence with youth. I think just looking at Dayton Public overall this year, we've seen a lot of tragedies with the students that are here. And I appreciate, Dr. Lawrence and your team and getting the mental health support out to those buildings and things like that during these type of incidents. And then secondly, Stivers, I did happen to go to their showcase last week. First time there, and it was a great experience, I will say. And then lastly for me, happy holidays to everyone. Looking forward to next year and what we will do here as a school district and a community. And thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Walker. Thank you. Do I have someone from Policy Committee that will read out?
Mr. President, may I?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Lacy.
Okay, I have first readings, resolutions to adopt board policy. Inasmuch as the Board of Education is committed to the continued updating of its policies, rules, and regulations manual, and the committee, which was appointed, has been working toward that goal, the following are brought at this time for first reading in compliance with the board file BFC policy adoption. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Education of the Dayton City School District, Montgomery County, Ohio, hereby accepts and adopts the following policies that have been codified for inclusion in the Handbook of Policies, Rules, and Regulations. One new policy, GBCBA, staff conduct prohibition of derogatory or harm-inducing language in staff interactions. Another new policy is GBCBB, also JGC, staff conduct prohibition of derogatory or harm-inducing language towards students. Revised to align with, a third policy revised to align with district's preference, GCPC/GCPCA, retirement of professional staff members, and a new policy, JGC, also GBCBB, staff conduct prohibition of derogatory or harm-inducing language towards students. These policies are being read for the first time. As such, a motion or second is not required. The policies will be available in the superintendent's office for review and comment prior to their second reading and adoption by the Board of Education. Furthermore, the policies will be reviewed by the superintendent's office, the board's office, and the legal department of the Dayton Public School District prior to the second reading. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lacy. Did you have any other comments this evening, sir?
The Finance Committee met last Thursday and reviewed the financial statements for November, and everything was in great order.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. I recommend the approval of following board member expense reimbursement as listed.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and second. Any questions? Seeing none, may we have a vote?
President Smith,
Yes.
Ms. Wick,
Yes.
Dr. Bailey,
Yes.
Mr. Lacy,
Yes.
Mr. Walker,
Yes.
Ms. Reinhardt,
Yes.
and Mr. Scott.
Yes.
7 yeses.
All right, Ms. Reiner?
A couple of updates. I mentioned last week that I attended the Winter School Finance Workshop. This morning, I attended a webinar on the effects of the newly passed bathroom bill, which I will I will once again express my extreme disappointment that the State House has chosen to harm an incredibly vulnerable population at this point. I've been communicating with State House legislators, both current and future, about the biennial budget that is going to start. It has already started, but we should see the first draft in February from the governor's office, and this is where we really push for a lot of the budget priorities that we know is good for our district, particularly in regards to public education. The General Assembly is expected to wrap up this week. There is still a House and Senate session that is yet to finish. I'm not going to bring a final update on legislation, seeing as how, it's the last week and it's lame duck. Anything and everything can and could happen. But I will tell you there are a number of bills that a lot of people in education are watching very closely. House Bill 8, Senate Bill 295, House Bill 206, Senate Bill 208. And then a few other bills as well, too. I will bring a final update in January on the end of the General Assembly and how it will affect public education. Lastly, I would like to wish everybody a happy holiday season. There are many holidays that people celebrate this time of year. I would like to wish everybody my favorite holiday, which is winter solstice. I hope everybody has a lovely winter solstice. Thank you.
Dr. Bailey?
First, I want to welcome Mr. Scott for being a part of us now. I'm thankful to have Belhaven Choir come and present to us today. I thought that was wonderful. I thank them again for coming out and rendering us those songs. I'm also glad to see that, from my eyes, that our culture is starting to change. David Lawrence is kind of, and his team, with the students, teachers, I'm glad and I hope that it continues to change. I'm also glad about the culture that's changed on this board as well, being able to communicate better with each other, and being able to communicate when things are going on, to reach out to staff and whoever else we need to reach out to resolve some things before we come to the diocese, which helps us to go into exec instead of at 9, at 7. So I hope that continues, and us to be able to just get along better, communicate better, and get things resolved. And I would like to see us start to talk more about the students than all of this business stuff all the time, and what we're going to do for these students and how to make the schools better. So that's all I got.
Appreciate you,
Happy
sir.
holidays.
Mr. Scott? It is your turn.
Alrighty.
You can take Dr. Goodwine's time too, so you got a while.
You got an hour.
No, she watching.
Alrighty.
She watching, you know.
I didn't have much planned, but I'd like to reiterate again that I'm honored to be chosen as the Student Senate President this year, and again, I'm excited for the opportunity to work with these wonderful people here on this dais and help represent some of the student voices in our district, as well as I look forward to learning from all of you and sharing ideas, as well as making a positive impact on our school. So thank you for having me today.
Thank you.
Yeah, Cassandra's watching.
I know she is. Texting. Dr. Jones?
I'll be quick. First, I want to give a shout out to Rick Rayford, Lenny Allen, and the operations team for the work that they've been performing on the Hyde building. and I'm really looking forward to updating the board in January on the progress that we've made there. And also, happy holidays, everyone.
Thank you, sir. Madam Treasurer.
Okay. This is the year-end calendar for us. This is the last payroll. It will show on our W-2s and 1019 on W-2s, the payroll, and the invoices will show on our 1099. The amount they see on December 20th will reflect onto the W-2s. So this is very critical for us to make sure everything is correct so that that W-2 is correct. Also, it's critical because we closing the calendar year, we cannot do an interim check. After Friday, we will close it for the calendar year. So everything has to be correct. We have a lot of supplementals paid, about $700,000, and everything is going to be paid on December 20th. Besides that, I would like to say happy holidays to our students, employees, and DPS family, and have fun, but be safe.
Thank you, Madam Treasurer, and appreciate the work that you guys about to be buckled down and doing, getting us out of here. For Ms. Wick.
Thank you. The conversation around transportation is a very active conversation in the community too, our business community, within our city leadership. So I really appreciate all the reflection there, and I love having our student voices be heard. And Dr. Lawrence and I are in several meetings along with President Smith, having conversations about all of this stuff, and it is a complex issue. We go back to the legislative piece of it, and I do believe that the solution really lies there, that we can get some legislature around the charter schools. That's where our solution lies. Dr. Lawrence and I are working hard to try to get on our governor's calendar because our leadership is going to change, and we're all going to be looking at new regulations first of the year when new leadership takes office. So these conversations are super important, and it's an honor and a pleasure to serve in the capacity to keep driving forward to solutions. So thank you all for being here. Happy holidays to all of our staff who work so hard, all of our families, our DPS families. These can be difficult times of year too. So lifting everybody up through all of it. I hope that we can remember I heard something this week, and I think this is a beautiful thing. That peace and joy are a choice. The world is hard, life is hard, but we can certainly choose to approach all of the people that we do throughout the day as we have an opportunity to greet somebody on the street, to greet our staff, to greet our community with peace and joy. So I wish you all peace and joy through the holiday season. Thank you all for your hard work, and I'm looking forward to 2025 and the exciting work that we have ahead of us, and thank you all for your service.
Thank you, Ms. Wick. Dr. Lawrence.
Thanks, President Smith. Student Senate has been amazing, some amazing voices. We can't wait to see you in January. Nevaeh and Mr. Scott, welcome. I want to double down on Thurgood theme. Where's Shay Smith? She was an SRO at Thurgood. And Dr. Marvin Jones. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention he was also the principal at Thurgood Marshall STEM High School. So there's a lot of Thurgood in the house today, President Smith, not Meadowdale. And here, after we double down on that, I would say that, Board Member Walker, I appreciate your comments about violence. And even though we're the school system, we are partnering with the city, and we're trying to stay involved in that space and other entities. So Ms. Minor and her team strike again. I sent this to Dr. Bailey the other day, but I will just say to everyone now, DPS will be co-leading with Adamus the countywide SIM planning. SIM is sequential intercept model, and its implementation will be with Adamus, and it deals with tracking students very young and looking for how shall we say, variables that may lead them to violence, and then working with them through 4 different portals: safety and security, mental health, and 2 other spaces. So it'll be in my update this week, but we'll be working with Adamus to be the first in the county to lead that effort. So great job, Ms. Minor.
All right, thank you, sir. I really, really did enjoy starting our day off, our evening off here, listening to Belhaven's choir. That was one of the joys of my young time in the district. Was Belhaven had the choir back when we were kids. They had their own little song, and you couldn't tell Belhaven nothing. So this comes full circle. I'm glad to see that. I'm glad to see so many people come out and support our youth. I want to welcome Mr. Scott to our dais. I appreciate everything you bring. Ms. Woods, I appreciate the insight that you gave us, and I think we would do ourselves better service if we lean more towards hearing the words from our youth and reacting in the spaces that we can. I think too many times we hear what the youth say and we immediately go to, well, this is what has to happen, instead of saying, let's be creative and find solutions to get to the bottom of these things. Appreciate Dr. Lawrence, Dr. Jones, Madam Treasurer, for the work that you all do as the employees of the board, which I want to reiterate are the only employees of the board. And I think that is part of when Dr. Bailey said we work on creating that culture. I think having those things to understand how we line up and how we work and who we work for. And as a board member, I know who I work for, which are the people of this community. And so when I'm sitting here, I choose to represent those that do not always have a voice, cannot always speak, and include the staff that works for this district. I think that's the thing that we have to focus on. I'm glad that we have had a board that openly talks about a lot of things. We don't always agree. We do always try to get out and see what's going on in this community, because that is how we have to move. And I think I talk a lot about keeping the main thing, which is our kids, but the next thing is our staff. Just being around, I've seen people really don't leave education for the kids. They don't leave education because of the children. A lot of people leave education because of things adults do. And that is what we have to keep in mind, is how do we make sure we're not getting in our own way and bogging things down with talks about things that do nothing for our staff or our children. So I encourage us to make sure that we're having those bold conversations around how do we make these things better, because that is what it's about. I appreciate you bringing Thurgood to the forefront. I really love that. I wish Ms. Shea was in here to hear you talk about her being over at Thurgood, because then I can tell you that her boss went to Meadowdale. Because, you know, Meadowdale's around. That's what we do.
That's right.
Mr. Walker.
That's a fact.
So I just want everybody to enjoy their time, enjoy your friends, enjoy your family, enjoy just not being around some people. Turn your phone off for a little bit sometimes. Don't answer text messages. Me, I'm not answering y'all anyway. I call Walker back sometimes. But I just really appreciate you all. You all really, truly are like loved by me for what you do. You all do an exceptional job, every single one of you, day in and day out, and that cannot be understated. So I just want to say, as we leave out of here, in our last meeting of this year, but not of the school year, because y'all be right back in January. It seemed like a long time. Y'all got about a week and a half for y'all see these kids. But I appreciate that. And with that, pursuant to section 121.22G2 of the Ohio Revised Code, I now move that this board go into executive session. The meeting is being held to consider the appointment and employment of a public employee. Do I have a second?
Second.
It's been moved in second. Do I have any questions? Seeing none, may we have a vote?
President Smith,
Yes.
Ms. Wick,
Yes.
Dr. Bailey,
Yes.
Mr. Lacy,
Yes.
Mr. Walker,
Yes.
Ms. Reinhardt,
Yes.
Mr. Scott.
Yes.
7 yeses.